Hello everyone, and welcome back to Diary of a Kidney Patient. If you watched my last video, we talked about financial support and the difference between means-tested and non-means-tested benefits. Today, I want to move away from money and look at something just as important: practical support. When I started dialysis, I quickly realized there were lots of schemes, services, and discounts that nobody had mentioned to me. Some of them could save money, some could save time, and others could simply make day-to-day life a little easier. So let's go through some of the things that are worth checking if you're living with chronic kidney disease or receiving dialysis in the UK. The first one is the blue badge. Many people think blue badges are only for wheelchair users, but that's not always the case. There's no automatic right to a blue badge just because you're on dialysis. Eligibility depends on how your condition affects your mobility more broadly, so it varies from person to person. If getting to appointments or walking longer distances is becoming difficult, it's definitely worth checking with your local council. Next is the Disabled Persons Railcard. If you travel by train regularly and you're eligible, this card can reduce the cost of rail travel for you and, in many cases, a companion traveling with you. It's a simple thing, but if you're making regular hospital journeys or visiting family, those savings can add up over time. Another area many people don't know about is the Hospital Travel Cost Scheme. If you're on a low income and meet the eligibility rules, you may be able to claim back the cost of traveling to NHS appointments. This won't apply to everyone, but if you're attending hospital several times each month, it's certainly worth asking your renal team or checking the NHS guidance. Something else that's often overlooked is the Priority Services Register offered by many energy suppliers. If you're receiving dialysis at home, particularly if you rely on electrical equipment overnight, registering with your electricity supplier may mean you receive additional support during power cuts or planned maintenance. Different suppliers offer different services, so it's worth contacting yours directly to see what's available. It's also worth registering separately with your water supplier because the energy and water registers aren't automatically linked. Another scheme worth looking into is WaterSure. Peritoneal dialysis can involve using more water for hand washing, cleaning, and maintaining a sterile environment. If you're on a water meter, receiving certain benefits, and being treated at home for a medical condition that means you need extra water, you may be able to get your bill capped through WaterSure. Again, it's worth contacting your water company directly to see whether you qualify, as the exact criteria can vary. Now, one I get asked about a lot, and it's a bit more complicated, is free NHS prescriptions. If you live in Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, prescriptions are already free for everyone, so this doesn't apply to you. If you're in England, it's less straightforward. Chronic kidney disease on its own isn't automatically on the list of exempt conditions. However, if you have a permanent fistula that needs ongoing surgical dressing or care, your GP or kidney doctor may be able to sign you up for a medical exemption certificate, though the NHS guidance says this is down to your doctor's clinical judgment, so it can vary from person to person. It's absolutely worth asking your renal team about this, because if you're not eligible, an NHS prescription prepayment certificate can still work out cheaper if you're on regular medication. Something else worth checking is your council tax bill. Depending on your circumstances, you may be entitled to a discount or reduction, particularly if you live alone, or you're the only adult in the household, or if a member of the household has a disability that means the property needs extra space or facilities. Every council runs its own scheme, so search for your local council on gov.uk to find out what's available in your area. If you drive, it's worth knowing that if you receive the higher rate mobility component of DLA or the enhanced rate mobility component of PIP, you can apply for an exemption from vehicle tax, and there's a 50% reduction available if you receive the standard rate mobility component of PIP. One organization I've mentioned before, and I'm happy to mention again, is Kidney Care UK. They offer a wide range of support, from information and guidance to grants in certain situations, and they also have a free benefits calculator on their website that can help you work out what you might be entitled to. Now, let's talk about travel. One of the biggest misconceptions is that dialysis means you can never go on holiday again. That's simply not true. With planning, many people on peritoneal dialysis are able to travel both within the UK and abroad. Some services can arrange for dialysis supplies to be delivered to your holiday accommodation, although this needs to be organized well in advance with your dialysis team and supplier. It's also sensible to speak to your kidney doctor or nurse before booking anything, just to make sure you're fit to travel and to check if there is a limit on how long you can be away once you've started dialysis. If you're flying, don't forget to request airport assistance if you need it. Airports can provide help getting through security, moving around the terminal, and boarding the aircraft. It's a free service, and there's no reason not to use it if it makes traveling less stressful. Another useful item is a radar key. This key provides access to many locked, accessible toilets across the UK. Not every kidney patient will need one, but for some people it offers reassurance when they're away from home for long periods. While we're talking about travel and days out, it's also worth knowing about the National Disability Card. This isn't a government scheme, it's run by a social enterprise, and there's a fee involved, currently around £20 for 2 years, but it acts as a quick visual way to show that you're disabled without having to explain your condition every time, and it's accepted at hundreds of venues and attractions across the UK for concessions or carer tickets. It's worth looking into if you think it would make days out a bit easier. One thing I've learned during my own journey is that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. There are so many services available, but nobody automatically signs you up for them. Sometimes you have to ask the questions. Talk to your renal nurses. Speak with your dialysis team. Ask your renal social worker if your hospital has one. Contact organizations like Kidney Care UK, the National Kidney Federation, or Citizens Advice. I also want to give a personal mention to Auriga services. They're the organization that runs many hardship and support schemes on behalf of water companies and other partners, and for me personally, they've been really helpful in explaining what benefits I could get and even assisting with the applications for a lot of them. If you're not sure where to start, they're worth looking into as well. Very often, they'll know about support that's available locally as well as nationally, and they can help you figure out which of these schemes are actually worth your time based on your own situation. The biggest message I want to leave you with today is this: don't assume there isn't help available. Equally, don't assume every scheme applies to everyone. Take the time to check. A simple phone call or conversation could make life a little easier. I hope you've found this video useful. If there are other types of support that you've discovered through your own kidney journey, I'd love to hear about them in the comments, because your experience might help somebody else. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Here on Diary of a Kidney Patient, I'm sharing the real day-to-day reality of living with chronic kidney disease and peritoneal dialysis here in the UK, from dialysis routines and food to travel, practical advice, and everything I've learned along the way. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.